Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the Bible vlog. Today's book is the book of Philemon and is actually just one chapter to the entire thing. Now, even though it's short, it deals with a fascinating topic that would fall under Christianity during the Roman Empire, which is what should the relationship be between a slave and a slave owner, especially if they both know Christ. Now, of course, in today's society, this is hard for us to even imagine or think about, but 2,000 years ago, this was a way of life for many people. Well, as always, Paul doesn't disappoint with the wisdom that he shows, so let's go ahead and get into this. Alright, so before anything else, some background and historical context to understand here. Now, we just finished going through the book of Colossians, which we know that Paul sent to the church at Colossus. Now, the church that was at Colossus actually met in Philemon's home, who Paul is writing this letter to. So this letter to Philemon was actually included with the book of Colossians when it was sent to the church. Now, Philemon himself was a wealthy Christian slave owner who had come to know Christ under Paul's ministry. Now, Philemon had a particular slave named Onesimus who had actually fled to Rome after apparently damaging or stealing some of Philemon's property. Now, while in Rome, Onesimus comes to Paul, and while they are together, Paul converts him to Christianity and sends him back to Philemon. In fact, Onesimus was one of the two messengers that Paul sent back to the church at Colossus to deliver his letters. Now, understand this, under Roman law at the time, Onesimus could have been severely punished or even sentenced. There are two huge owls in that tree right there watching me. Maybe they want to know about Jesus. They're up there like, who? Now, under Roman law at the time, Onesimus could have been severely punished or even sentenced to death for running away. Now, the early church did not directly attack the institution of slavery, but it was one of the first to begin proclaiming that both were equal before God. So ultimately, this letter is a plea on Onesimus's behalf by Paul that Philemon would accept him back as a brother in Christ. All right, go ahead and turn to verses 10 through 16 and let's read this. Now, this is Paul writing, "I appeal to you for my son Onesimus, whom I have begotten while in my chains, who once was unprofitable to you, but now is profitable to you and to me. I am sending him back. You therefore receive him. That is my own heart, whom I wish to keep with me, that on your behalf he might minister to me in my chains for the gospel. But without your consent I wanted to do nothing, that your good deed might not be compulsion, as it were, but voluntary. For perhaps he departed for a while for this purpose, that you might receive him forever, no longer as a slave, but more than a slave, a beloved brother, especially to me, but how much more to you, both in the flesh and in the Lord." Now, just reading this, you can hear Paul's heart in his writing. Right off the bat, he refers to Onesimus as his son. Now, the beauty of the gospel is that nothing is written by accident. There are extremely obvious parallels here between the reunion of Jesus Christ and us as runaway sinners. Guys, we were once all slaves to sin, but are now beloved brothers and sisters in Christ, like what Paul refers to in verse 16. Now, what I particularly love about verse 16 is it focuses on the new relationship between Onesimus and Philemon. Not just the temporary master to slave one, but the eternal brother to brother one. Now, even though Paul doesn't directly attack the institution of slavery here, the principles that he lays out ultimately lays the foundation for abolishing it in the future. Now, look at the next thing that Paul writes. This is just beautiful. Look at verses 17 through 21. "If then you count me as a partner, receive him as you would me. But if he has wronged you or owes you anything, put that on my account. I, Paul, am writing with my own hand. I will repay. Not to mention to you that you owe me even your own self besides. Yes, brother, let me have joy from you in the Lord. Refresh my heart in the Lord. Having confidence in your obedience, I write to you, knowing that you will do even more than I say." Now, we don't know for sure if Onesimus stole something before running away, but verse 18 seems to indicate that it may have happened. Now, Onesimus would have been unable to pay this back, but Paul literally says that whatever he owes Philemon, put it on my account. Do you see the similarities here? Just like what Jesus has done for us, Paul is stepping up and saying, I will take it upon myself to pay whatever debt is owed. Guys, it's a beautiful picture of what Jesus has done for us. We are no longer slaves to sin, but we are all children of God. All right, guys, well, that is going to wrap it for us with the book of Philemon. Man, that was the fastest book that we have gone through yet. I know it's shorter, but still such beautiful things that Paul writes that we can all learn from. All right, well, because this book was only one chapter, it means that yet again we are starting another one tomorrow. I'm excited to tell you that we are again yet circling back to the Gospels and looking at the life of Jesus through the book of Luke. Now, we've already done Matthew and Mark, but Luke really gives the emphasis on Christ being for everyone, kind of the universal message of the gospel. Well, boys and girls, thank you as always for joining us today. Hope you have a beautiful day. Come back tomorrow for Luke chapter 1. Until then, be good. I love your faces, and I will see you tomorrow.